are Artworkium.
And welcome to Inventive Legacies, patents that shaped our lives.
This is our brand new series where we dig into the stories, the actual blueprints, find some amazing inventions.
That's right. We're focusing on the iconic patents, the ones you can actually find as digital prints in our online store. We're going deep on these documents.
Yeah, and think of this series as a big thank you, really, to all of you who've bought our prints.
It's like an extra resource, you know? The story behind the art you've got hanging up.
So today we're jumping into our toys and games section.
We are, with something that looks simple at first glance, but, well, it isn't. It's the 1901 patent called checkerboard game.
Okay, and if you want to see the actual patent print while you listen, the link is right there in the episode description. It's US 665,505. And our mission today, we want to unpack this thing, figure out why the inventor, Conrad Buttgenbach,
right,
why he took a game like checkers, something we all know, and turned it into this complex race with stars and moons.
And mandatory jumps that. Well, they don't do what you expect. It gets wild.
Yeah, get ready. This is definitely not the checkers you played as a kid.
Not even close. Short silence transition.
All right, let's get into the specifics then. The official title is Checkerboard Game.
Yep. Document ID US 665,505A, filed back in November 1899.
Wow, right at the turn of the century.
Exactly, and it was published January 8th, 1901.
And the inventor was Conrad Buttgenbach. You mentioned him.
That's the one. Some sources might spell it slightly differently, but Buttgenbach seems correct. He was living in Hamburg, Germany at the time.
Okay, from Germany. And what was he trying to do? What was his big idea here?
Well, according to the patent itself, his goal was pretty clear. He wanted to provide an extremely entertaining and instructive game setup.
For chess or checkerboard, so using existing stuff.
Sort of. Using the idea of those boards, he wanted to take that familiar layout, the grid, and basically build a whole new strategic game on top of it.
Okay, interesting. And step one was making the board bigger.
Yeah, step one was basically ignoring the standard checkerboard.
How so?
Well, the board, which he labels G in the drawings, it's divided into 100 squares.
100. So a 10 by 10 board.
That's it, a 10 by 10 board, which compared to the standard 8 by 8 is a pretty significant expansion.
Yeah, that's 64 versus 100. That's 36 extra squares. Why would he need all that space?
That's the key question, isn't it? If you're just capturing pieces like in regular checkers, 8 by 8 works fine.
Right.
But Buttgenbach wasn't designing a game about capturing. He was thinking about, well, movement, migration.
Okay, so if you have more pieces, maybe.
Exactly. You have 30 pieces total on the board to start, 15 per player.
30 pieces on a small board if you're not taking them off.
It'd get crowded fast. You'd run out of room to maneuver almost immediately. So that bigger 10 by 10 board was kind of essential just to make his core idea work.
Makes sense. He needed the real estate.
He did. So the whole game uses this series of 30 pieces. Each player gets a sub-series of 15.
Okay, series, sub-series. Got it. 15 each.
And they're set up on the dark squares like you'd expect. That's pretty standard, the almost universal rule, as he puts it.
So far, so checker-like, apart from the size. But these 15 pieces, they weren't all the same, were they? He had some kind of system.
Oh, yeah. He organized them into what he calls sets. Think of them as the rows they start in. Front, middle, and rear.
Sets for rows. Okay.
His terminology gets a bit dense, but your way of thinking about it earlier was good. Like, the whole 30 pieces are the army.
Right.
Your 15 are your battalion, and these sets, these rows, are like your different ranks of soldiers. A, B, C for one player, D, E, F for the other.
That helps visualize it.
Yeah.
Ranks.
Yeah.
But how did he tell them apart visually? This is where it gets cool, right?
This is where it gets really fun,
Yeah.
He didn't just use different colors for the sets. He used symbols. Actual illustrations shown in the patent drawings.
Which were?
The sun, the moon, and the stars.
I love that.
Oh.
It's so evocative. Takes a plain game piece and gives a character.
Yeah.
Whole celestial theme.
Totally. But wait, it gets even more granular. It wasn't just sun piece, moon piece, star piece. Within each set, the pieces were also numbered.
Numbered how?
By the number of markings on them. From 1 to 5.
So you'd have a piece with like one sun, then 2 suns, 3 suns, up to 5 suns.
Exactly that. Same for moons and stars. 1 moon, 2 moons, up to 5. 1 star, 2 stars, up to 5.
So that's 3 sets times 5 ranks. 15 unique pieces per player.
Okay, wow. 15 unique IDs. Now think about this. If the game is about moving pieces to specific spots, how do you quickly know what rank your opponent's piece is? Especially from across the board.
Good point. You'd have to ask them or lean way over.
Or you could be a genius like Buttgenbach in 1901. He thought of that.
What did he do?
On the back of each piece, the side facing the opponent,
Yeah,
he put Arabic numerals, 1 to 5, both inverted and upright.
inverted and upright. Why both?
So no matter which way the piece is sitting relative to you or your opponent, one of those numbers is readable at a glance. It corresponds directly to the number of suns, moons, or stars on the front.
That is clever. Really clever. So both players instantly know the value, the rank of any piece without touching it.
That's it. And it tells you right away that this ranking system, this 1 to 5 numbering, must be absolutely critical for how the game actually ends, even before we talk about how they move.
Okay. This is fascinating. We've got this huge 10 by 10 board, these sun, moon, star pieces numbered 1 to 5. Now, how do they actually play? Let's get to the rules. This is where it diverges, right?
This is where it takes a hard left turn from checkers. Movement itself is sort of familiar territory initially.
How so?
Pieces move like kings and checkers.
Meaning diagonally, one step.
One step diagonally, yeah.
Yeah.
And crucially, backward or forward from the start, no need to get king.
They all start as kings, basically.
Pretty much. And just like checkers, jumping an opponent's piece is mandatory if you have the chance.
Okay, mandatory jump. If there's an opposing piece next to you diagonally and an empty space beyond it, you have to jump.
You have to. But, and here's the big but.
I'm sensing a twist.
Oh, it's the twist that changes everything.
Don't leave me hanging. What happens when you jump?
The jumped piece, it stays right there.
What? It stays there.
Stays on the board. Unmoved. It is not captured, not removed, nothing.
Wait, hold on. You jump over your opponent's piece,
Uh-huh.
and they just sit there. Like, nice jump, carry on. They don't get taken off the board.
Nope. They just stay. They effectively become a fixed point on the board after being jumped.
Oh my God. That completely breaks the game of checkers as we know it.
It utterly redefines the strategy. Think about it. In checkers, you jump to remove threats, to clear paths.
Yeah, you capture them.
Here, jumping creates an obstacle, a permanent one right behind the piece you just jumped.
And it's mandatory. So you're forced to create these blockades.
You are forced to jump and therefore forced to potentially block your own future moves or strategically block your opponent. It's nuts.
I'm trying to wrap my head around planning jumps when the victim just dusts themselves off and becomes part of the landscape.
It shifts the whole game from like a battle of elimination.
To what? Traffic management.
Huh. That's actually a great way to put it. Strategic blocking,
Right.
pathfinding. You're not trying to destroy the enemy. You're trying to navigate around them, maybe even use them as roadblocks.
Okay, now I see why he needed the 10 by 10 board,
Yeah.
with 30 pieces never leaving.
It becomes a complex puzzle of maneuvering. And this leads directly to the objective. If you're not capturing pieces, how do you win?
Right. What's the goal?
Migration, pure and simple.
Migration.
The winner is the first player to move their entire subseries, all 15 of their pieces, into the exact same relative positions on the opposite side of the board that their opponent started in.
Wow. So you have to get your 5 sun pieces, your 5 moon pieces, your 5 star pieces, all numbered 1 to 5, into the mirror image spots where the opponent's pieces began.
Precisely. It's a race. A complex positional race to recreate your starting formation on the enemy's home turf, navigating this bizarre landscape of unremovable jumped pieces.
That sounds incredibly challenging and really different.
It's a remarkably sophisticated concept for 1901, you know? Taking that familiar checkerboard idea and just twisting its core mechanic, Buttgenbach clearly thought he was onto something special.
He called it extremely amusing, entertaining, and instructive
Yeah.
for young and old.
That's what the patent says. Whether it caught on, well, that's another story. But the design itself is ingenious. Short silence transition.
Okay, this deep dive into US 665,505 has definitely uncovered a weird and wonderful game design.
For sure. And now we'd love to know what you, listening in, found most, well, surprising or interesting about this whole thing. Stuff you maybe didn't expect from an old checker game patent.
Yeah, what stood out to you? Was it maybe just the size, that jump from the usual 8x8 board whip to a 10x10, 100 squares?
Or perhaps it was that really elaborate piece system, using the suns, moons, and stars and then numbering each type from 1 to 5. Very decorative, but also functional.
Or maybe, like me, it was that absolute mind bender of a rule. The mandatory jump that doesn't capture the piece.
Yeah, the non-capture jump, turning the whole thing into this strategic race where jumps create permanent obstacles. That's got to be the biggest twist.
Let us know. Head over to social media, share your thoughts. Use the hashtag inventive legacies.
Yeah, we'd love to see what you think. And, if you're enjoying this, please subscribe, leave a review. It really helps other people find the series.
Absolutely. Helps us keep digging into these cool old patents. Short silence transition.
All right, so let's just quickly wrap up what we found in Conrad Buttgenbach's 1901 checkerboard game. Patent US 665,505.
Okay, we saw a game that dramatically expanded the board to 10 by 10.
Yep, and used this really unique system of 15 pieces per player, themed around suns, moons, and stars, and numbered 1 through 5.
With that clever marking system on the back so everyone could see the ranks.
Right, and those numbers weren't for special powers, but really for identifying the pieces for the final goal.
Which was?
Pure migration, a race to get all your pieces into the opponent's starting spots exactly.
And the key mechanic driving that race was the mandatory jump rule.
That created permanent blockades instead of capturing pieces, forcing you to manage the board, not clear it.
Which kind of leads us to a final thought for you to chew on.
Yeah, think about this. This game, over 120 years old, it's built on a core rule of, constraint, not destruction.
Right. You're forced to deal with the consequences of your mandatory moves.
So the question is, what could modern game designers maybe learn from that? This old idea of making a complex race to the finish on a familiar grid, but focusing players on navigating obstacles and managing paths.
Instead of just defaulting to the usual wipe the other player out kind of goal. A war of attrition.
Exactly. What new kinds of strategy games could emerge if the core wasn't about removal, but about, maneuvering through complexity? Something to ponder.
Definitely food for thought.
Well, we really hope you enjoyed this first deep dive into one of the amazing patents from the Artworkium collection.
We had a blast exploring it. Join us next time. We'll be unpacking another incredible invention, another piece of patent history that shaped our world in some way.
Thanks so much for your loyalty and for listening.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.